What's better than a hot chicken pot pie on a cold day? I can't think of anything. It's cold outside, but I'm gonna warm you up with individual puff pastry topped chicken pot pies. They were a favorite of mine when I was a kid, but I've updated them and made them just a little bit fancier. Let's get cooking. We're gonna season these chicken breasts with my favorite Kinder's Buttery Steakhouse seasoning. It has all kinds of things: salt, pepper, garlic, onion, butter flavor, all kinds of other spices that will make the chicken delicious. You really can't put too much. You want this to taste good. Now a little bit of olive oil on top so we can get them browned. Just a little drizzle, and then I like to take the basting brush and just make sure that we have full coverage all over the chicken, so every little bit of it has got olive oil and seasoning. I'm gonna go ahead and put these in my preheated oven. It's preheated to 375 degrees. I'm gonna bake them for 20 to 25 minutes until they're done, like my grandma would say, but it's about 165 degrees Fahrenheit on an instant read thermometer. Our chicken is cooked and cooled, and now it's easy to handle. And we are going to chop it up because nobody wants big chunks of chicken in their chicken pot pie. Just want to give it a nice rough chop, just so that it's easy to pick up with a fork. Chicken pot pie, well, it's pretty much everybody's favorite dish when it's cold outside, but my daughter Elizabeth, this is her #1 favorite dinner. She asks for it even in the middle of summer when it's 100 degrees. And this is a great way to really stretch the chicken because you can make 4 servings of this pot pie with only 2 chicken breasts. That way you can feed your whole family with less than a pound of chicken. I like to run the knife through it just a couple times and make sure that my pieces are nice and little. You want to be able to pick it up with a fork, pop it in your mouth, because you like to eat it on the couch. What we've got left in the plate here from our roasted chicken breasts, this is liquid gold. We don't want to waste it. So we're going to take the drippings from our chicken and fortify our chicken broth, which is going to be part of the recipe. And now it's going to taste like roasted chicken. Delicious. We are making a roux. This recipe, like everything good that comes out of the kitchen, starts with butter, 1/3 of a cup, which is just a little more than 5 tablespoons. There's lines right here on the wrapper that can show you exactly where you're gonna cut it. So we're gonna count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus a little bit. That's gonna be just the right amount. We're gonna let this butter melt. Butter makes everything taste good. Our butter is bubbling, so we're gonna go ahead and add in 1 small chopped onion and about 1 cup chopped celery. And we're going to go ahead and cook these until they are soft and translucent but not browned. We want to go ahead and season every layer, every step of the way that we go, so everything tastes good. So I'm going to take a little bit of coarse salt, kosher salt, sprinkle it in there, a little bit of fresh ground black pepper, and just keep stirring it. We want everything to get nice and soft. A roux is equal parts of fat and flour, and this time it's butter and flour. You just want to cook it until you get the floury taste out, but we don't want to brown it because this is called a blonde roux, and this is what's going to thicken up our chicken pot pie filling. Now we're going to add in our liquid, which for this recipe we're using our fortified chicken broth. Remember, we fortified this chicken broth with all the delicious drippings from our seasoned roasted chicken breasts. And then we're going to add in our half and half. Now we want to bring this up to a gentle bubble to let this thicken up so it'll be creamy, dreamy, and delicious. Now we're going to season this with our secret ingredient, just a little bit of better than bouillon. And we are also going to add in a little bit more of our Kinder's Buttery Steakhouse, just a nice little sprinkle, and some poultry seasoning. This has got thyme and sage. Basically tastes like Thanksgiving dinner. It's delicious. Stir that all in together so we can make the base of our sauce. Look at that. That's good stuff. We're going to add in our frozen peas and carrots. This is about 3 cups of frozen peas and carrots. You don't even need to defrost them. They're gonna heat up just fine. One of the best things about the chicken pot pie is kids love it, and it's full of vegetables. We've got peas, carrots, celery, and onions all right in here. They're gonna eat every bite of it. We're adding in our chopped cooked chicken. We can turn the heat off now and just incorporate the chicken. And what we've got here now is basically chicken stew. Before we go ahead and turn this into chicken pot pie, we want to take a taste and make sure it's perfect, because this is our last chance to add extra seasoning. Oh, it's so good. Now we're gonna take this delicious chicken stew, and you'll notice I don't have one container, I have 4, because when I was a little girl, my favorite thing about chicken pot pie was having my own special little pie. When you make it homemade, you can do the same thing. You don't need to put it in one big dish. Put it in as many little dishes as you need. And honestly, there's enough in here, we could probably fill 1 or 2 more. This makes it even easier to eat it on the couch. Oh my goodness, it smells divine. This looks so good. I'm telling you, this is a hug in a bowl. When you serve this up, everybody is going to love it. We can give everybody one more little scoop. And now the fun part that's gonna be a little bit fancy, because I don't know about you, but I don't like a 2-crust pot pie. The bottom always gets soggy, and as you notice, we didn't put any crust in the bottom. But on top, we're going to use puff pastry. And this comes from the store. You don't have to make it yourself. You get 2 in a box, and you just have to let them come to room temperature so that you can work with them. These are nice and ready to go. And I forgot I need to put a little flour on my board so that it doesn't stick. Perfect. That is gorgeous. Now, typically when you were gonna use puff pastry, you might wanna roll it out, but this is actually the perfect size to top these 4 little containers. I just have to cut it into 4ths. You wanna make sure you use a nice sharp knife so you get a good edge here, and just cut it into 4ths. It's okay if it's not perfect. And then we take each one and top our little pot pie. Look at that. Perfect, it's perfect. We need to vent this pastry so that it doesn't get soggy and bubble up everywhere. So what we're gonna do is take our sharp knife. You can make any design you want. I'm gonna make it easy for us and just do a couple little cut marks. We could stop here and put them in the oven just like this. But to make them extra good and extra special, we're going to brush them with an egg wash. And all an egg wash is an egg and a little bit of water beaten together, brushed on top. So, 1 egg. And we're just gonna get a little water out of the refrigerator. There we go. Beat it up. Don't need a whisk, fork is fine. Even though it's gonna look fancy, we don't have to be fancy. All done. We take our pastry brush, dip it in, and just brush it right on top, just like that. This is gonna make sure that your pastry is shiny and glossy, and it will look like it came from a bakery. You don't have to be neat about it. Just make sure you get the whole thing covered best you can. And our finishing touch, just a little sprinkle of flaky sea salt. Make it extra pretty. And now these beauties are ready for the oven. And to make it extra easy, put them on a baking tray. That way you can put them all 4 in one time, and you don't have to worry if you get a little bit of bubble over. It'll go on the tray and not in your oven. We've got our oven set at 400 degrees. We kicked it up from the 375 where we cooked the chicken, and we're gonna bake these for 25 to 30 minutes until they are golden brown and puffed up beautifully. The timer just beeped, and these little beauties are ready for their close-up. Not only do they look good, but listen, they sound good too. Let's get a bite. Oh, it's so hot. Look at that. Oh, it's so good. No soggy bottoms here. We've got that crunchy top, perfectly puffed up, and that creamy chicken stew on the inside with the peas and the carrots. It's just perfect, and it's always better when it's homemade. For the full recipe, check out the description below. If you like this recipe, please click like and subscribe.